On this week's show, Hait brings us a conversation with the newly elected Student Body President Brianna Thompson. Brittany's son covers BioBlitz with Science Master John Clark and Project W. Lawrenceville's 10-minute newscast begins right now. From the studios inside the Lawrenceville School's historic Pop Hall, this is L10 with Aiden Duffy. Hello and welcome to this week's show. The 2017 presidential election results are in, and Brianna Thompson will serve as the 2017-2018 Student Body President. Our senior news correspondent, Hait, leads us off with a conversation on Brie's plans following the election.
So Brie, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
How are you feeling right now?
I'm honestly, when I was told, I was so happy. I was ecstatic.
So Brie, in your speech, you were adamant about making sure that the student body really got to know the student council on a personal level. How do you plan on making that happen? How do you plan on forming these connections?
I think that these connections can be formed kind of through more interform events, and I think the kickstart of those would be kind of these StuCo getting to know you forums, and then that could be extended to the entire kind of senior class, and then maybe the juniors and the sophomores, just so that people feel more comfortable talking to people and being real. And like, I think that the StuCo getting to know you forums would create a space where people feel comfortable actually talking to each other, so that if, say, a second former doesn't think that the way that StuCo is planning their second form events is effective and working for them, they can say, hey, Brie, I don't think that the way that you're working on these events is really reaching the second form, and I as a second former don't think that it's helping me, but this is what I think would help. Having real dialogue versus polls only, anonymous surveys, kind of real talk.
We had a rather striking statistic at a school meeting that 45% of Laurentians feel that Lawrenceville has negatively impacted their mental health. Could you explain a little bit more about the haiku page and what you plan on doing with it?
The haiku page is kind of the first part of a group of initiatives that I'd like to launch, kind of under the banner of If You Want It, It's There, where it's kind of giving the student body more information on a lot of the things on campus, and whether that's just kind of debunking the myths that we have regarding like what's a major, what's not a major, how you get a major, or kind of how counseling at the infirm works, how going and talking to a counselor works, who goes and talks to a counselor, are your parents alerted, are your housemasters alerted, that kind of a situation, kind of letting people know what the resources are, because I feel like here at Lawrenceville, we have a vague idea about a lot of things versus kind of concrete facts on how certain things work, like the DC system, like majors, like counseling at the infirm. And I think that the haiku page could tackle those issues, among other things, and kind of make people more aware so that they feel comfortable asking the administration and like being intelligent when they come up with questions to ask the administration versus like making claims that are baseless. And I think that by eliminating that, because people are now more informed, that will kind of make the Lawrenceville community a more transparent community.
So Brie, you're an active member of the Big Red Dog Pound, and you kind of touched on the idea of including underformers in Dog Pound leadership. Could you maybe expound on that more and talk about how you plan to implement the underformers?
I think implementing the underformers kind of changes the Dog Pound from being this thing that nobody knows how it really is run and operated, kind of into more of a club, kind of into a, if you are interested in helping, kind of like a spirit squad, I think is what the Dog Pound needs to be, more of an official spirit squad, because I think that while the seniors do a really great job organizing student turnout at games and kind of getting people hyped up, telling us what the games are every day, I think that sometimes it is not enough, because these seniors also play sports and they have other extracurriculars and can't always make it to games, because that's just how life is at Lawrenceville. It's hectic and it's fast-paced and we love it here. But it would be in everybody's best interest to kind of say, hey, underformers, if you're interested in this, why not get involved? Because we know you're interested in it. We know you love the t-shirts. We know you love the Dog Pound cheers. So kind of saying, all right, well, maybe through an application, maybe kind of just an open sign-up thing, because in my opinion, the more the merrier. And we kind of say, all right, there's a couple of freshman reps and they can organize, kind of rally, or they can kind of rile up the freshmen. Then we have the sophomores and we have the juniors, and then we still have the seniors who will kind of maintain a leadership position to kind of oversee the everyday operations of the Dog Pound.
Thank you, Annie. In other news, Ben Hammond will join the Lawrenceville community as Chief Financial Officer beginning July 1st. Mr. Hammond comes to Lawrenceville from Wellesley College, where he served as Vice President for Finance and Administration and Treasurer. Prior to Wellesley, Mr. Hammond held the same position at Mount Holyoke College. Harvard Law School Professor Michael Clareman spoke in the Kirby Arts Center for the annual Whedon Lecture. His talk focused on the landmark Brown versus Board of Education case and its implications in American history. 10 new Hutchins Scholars were chosen by the Lawrenceville Science Masters. Congratulations to third formers Scarlett Au, Dev Chokra, Isabel Huang, Melody Luang, Rishi Magu, Sahil Malhotra, Damlo Ozdemir, Kevin Shao, Vinny Veeramatchaneni, and Jacob Wu. The program, now in its 8th year, affords these scholars the opportunity to conduct meaningful research and prepares them for leading university science programs. Fifth formers Emily Galvin and Angel Mohammed are recipients of the University of North Carolina's Moorhead Kane Scholarship and the University of Virginia's Jefferson Scholarship, respectively. Both merits offer a full scholarship to the university, as well as further opportunities for travel and study. Last Friday, the 3rd and 4th News Boards of L10 had the opportunity to visit Lawrenceville alum and CBS This Morning line producer Evan Hirsch, class of 2000. Thanks to Evan for the tour and sharing his expertise. The arrival of spring means BioBlitz is in full swing. Senior arts correspondent Brittany Sun follows Science Master John Clark around campus for some tips on how to get the most out of this school-wide contest.
BioBlitz has been a huge phenomenon over the past couple weeks. I'm joined today by Dr. Clark, who will give us a tour of BioBlitz. So Dr. Clark, can you first give us a short summary of what BioBlitz is?
Sure, Brittany. So BioBlitz is basically a social media-based platform where you can document your observations of flora and fauna. So it's a way to just get engaged with the beauty of our campus by recognizing all of the great natural history and plants and animals that we have. And they're documented with pictures. And it's also a competition. So the more observations you make, the more likely those observations will get identified. And the goal is to have the most species at the end of the competition.
So we're here on the grass right above the track. How would one BioBlitz here?
Okay, so check it out. You're just walking around, you're on your way to Irwin, and you look down the ground and you say, oh, look at this beautiful flower. So you take the flower out, and then you take your iPhone out right here, and then you take out one of the lenses. And one of the cool things about BioBlitz, you get some toys. You take a picture of the flower, and then you load it onto this application called iNaturalist, and it uploads it to a website, just like Facebook, but it's just for flora and fauna. And the more observations you make, the more likely people are going to identify your observations, and the person with the most species wins.
What happens when you win?
Okay, well, number one, you get a lot of integrity, okay? People recognize you for being a naturalist, for being interested in the outdoors. You gain a lot of knowledge, but there are also prizes. So I have 4 different styles of bracelets, 2 different styles of necklaces, and then I have this one here, which is our fancy one this year. It's a piece of metal that has a Lawrenceville L, and then behind it is red leather, like Go Big Red. And it has 2 different kinds of leather. So the way it works is the top 50 people get first choice, and then 50 to 100 get second choice. Also, I'm going to add into the competition, the top 20 will get for any particular house, will get a feed.
A big thank you to Dr. Clark for this wonderful BioBlitz tour. From right outside Irwin, this is Brittany's son. Back to you, Aiden.
Thank you, Brittany. An all-school dance, Project W, was held in the Kirby Arts Center this past Saturday.
I'm here with the social rep of Woodhall, Cully Bogard.
Hello.
So, Cully, it's obviously been a very hype week leading up to Project W, so could you tell me a little bit about the event?
So we're having a big DJ come, and it's going to be hopefully a dance that sets the tone for dancers in the future.
So, DJ Sliink, what's your favorite part about being a DJ?
The favorite part is pretty much connecting with the fans and getting to travel and see different cultures and just making people happy, because somebody could be like having a bad day and you could just turn their whole day around with the music that you make and the vibe that you give off. So I love making people happy as a DJ.
Awesome. So given that our dance is Ultra themed, could you tell us a bit about playing stages like Ultra?
Ultra was super crazy. It's like thousands of people. I had a great time. I got to play some new music, and pretty much this is going to be like a part 2. So I'm going to do like a similar set that I did at Ultra here, so y'all can have that experience.
Great. So in between shows and dealing with fans, what is your life really like?
My life is like a lot of traveling. I'm very family-based. I'm big on family, so I spend a lot of time with my family in between shows and stuff. I'm in the studio a lot. I actually like to cook as well. I like to draw. So I think I actually want to be a chef, like a certified chef. I do a little bit of everything. So besides music, I got that going on, and it's just pretty much being in the studio and building my music up.
Things are definitely heating up here at Project W. From the KC, I'm Victoria Cruz.
Thank you, Victoria. That is our show for Saturday, April 8th. This week, we end the broadcast with some sounds from last night's spring jazz concert. Enjoy. From all of us here at L10, thank you for watching and good night.